Don't mind the background. I've been in this room for 16 hours today doing all kinds of random shit. So, Collision. February 21st, 2026, Collision kicked off with a trios match. Which, fine, it's good. It was for the titles, so it was Jet Set Rodeo versus The Demand. It was fine. It was a good match. Everybody did exactly what they needed to do in order to prove their talent, prove their strengths, unfortunately show some of their weaknesses, but we got through it. Everything was fine. Jet Set Rodeo got the win, which was good. Let them hang on to their titles. Everything's fine with that. I am curious if they are going to try and continue on all of these solo runs while still being the trio's champions. I think it would be interesting if they were able to, maybe one or two of them, collect something new. Although we can kind of tell that I'm sure they're going to be dropped here pretty soon because the Adam Page thing going on with MJF. I cannot believe that they would allow Page to take the title off MJF at Revolution. However, the way things are stacking up, they might surprise us and they might actually do it. And I hope they don't. I truly hope they don't. I want MJF to hang on to that title. But they're really making it seem like they might do it. And fine. I don't want it to happen. But if it happens, then we can keep the trios titles on Jet Set Rodeo for a while longer. They can each individually go after their own things. I really wish that the Demand had one, but who am I? Following that match, FTR showed up in the Rascals locker room. Smoke abound, snacks akimbo, and they were talking a little bit of trash, and the Rascals went, okay, well, if you want to fight, let's go have a fight. There's a ring right there. Let's make it a tag team qualifying eliminator match. And FTR said, oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you're going to get an eliminator match. And then they walked off, and the Rascals went to go stretch and warm up, just leaving a scattering of chips and candy all over this little table. That was that. That was the whole thing. It lasted about 90 seconds, and then we quickly moved right on. The following match was a tag team match, and it was Blake Christensen and Lee Johnson, otherwise known as The Swirl, love it, versus the Bucks. There wasn't anything really on the line here. It was a really good tag team match. The Bucks were the Bucks, and The Swirl really showed off. They got the newest opportunity, because I'm pretty sure we've seen them before in the past, but it's been a hot minute. So we got to see what the Swirl is capable of. They were doing great. They honestly, I truly thought that there were one or 2 points there where I really thought that the Swirl were going to get the win, and that would have been very impressive. The Young Bucks did end up with the win, which, like I said, the entire match front to back, no negative notes, no negative thoughts about it. Everything was awesome. There were a lot of super kicks, because all four of those gentlemen are super kick heavy when it comes down to it. But it didn't feel like too many super kicks. And the sells for a lot of them were fantastic. So if you get time and you can go find the full match, go watch it. It really showed the capability of both teams. I mean, we know what the Bucks are capable of, but it really showed off the Swirl. It really showed off the Swirl. and I'm happy that we got to see them. I'm happy that this whole thing came together. So I hope we get to see more of the Swirl. I think that it's a really dynamic tag team, and I think that they could do really good things. I would love to see the Swirl versus the Rascals. I think that should be something that happens soonish, and I think that when we see that, or if we see that, I think Reed should be one of the members, because we haven't really gotten to see a lot of Reed. The Rascals have only been in for a month. We've gotten to see Reed wrestle once, I think. I'm pretty sure he wrestled once a few weeks ago. But Xavier and Wentz have been the dominant tag team for that stable. So I'd really like to see the Swirl versus the Rascals. I think it would be fun and goofy and dynamic. And like I said, we need to see a little more of Reed. We haven't done anything with him yet. I know they've only been in a month. I get it. But something's got to give. So let's start rotating the Rascals around a little bit more, and let's hit it. Right after the tag team match, we rolled immediately into a quick recap of what happened between MJF and Paige on Wednesday, and then apparently MJF went off to House of Glory, which is a smaller promotion. It's HOG. Look into it. It's got some really great people on it. And he wrestled a match against Zilla Fatu. And the clips that we saw, I'm going to go and look the entire match up right now, because the clips that we saw looked awesome. Andrade made an appearance when MJF was about to hit Fatu with the title, and he slipped the title out of MJF's hands. And then after the match, which obviously MJF won, he ran to the back and he found Andrade, and he was like, "Hey, like, you want to get involved in my business? Like, what's your deal?" And Andrade was Andrade, and he was like, "Hey, tranquilo. But if you're just going to give out title shots to anybody, I'm coming for my shot, because I have my eye on that title." So that brings us to 7 different people going after the men's title right now, which is fine. That's awesome. We've got so many people gunning for it, and none of them are going to take it. We need to keep this title on MJF for quite a while. So that was fun. Like I said, I'm going to go find that MJF and Zilla Fatu match. Like, I'm going to go watch it. I have a TV over there, so I'm going to go watch that while all of this is rendering and uploading. From there, we moved immediately into Josh Alexander versus Claudio Castagnoli for the CMML heavyweight title. And I didn't know... I don't watch a lot of lucha wrestling outside of the U.S., right? I have a very small bandwidth of streaming services and things like that. I'm not sure where I could watch it. I could watch clips on YouTube, obviously, but be that as it may, I didn't know that they got to choose a second to, like, have it ringside, like, be in their corner for whatever, for insert reason here, right? So Claudio picked Shafir and then Alexander picked the Murder Hawk Monster. So it was Claudio and Josh, with their seconds being Shafir and the Murder Hawk Monster. And that was very silly. And it didn't really come into play until near the end. Josh and Claudio did a really good job of just beating the tar out of each other. Both of them had just red chests by the end of the match. Everything was insane. And then Lance Archer got up on the apron at one point, and he was like talking shit to Claudio, and then Shafir came around and popped up, and she was just like, and just stood there and stared at him, and then Claudio kicked him in the face. So that was fun for a second. Claudio ended up with the win, so he got to keep the title. So we followed the CMLL title match up with a squash match between Megan Bayne and Becca. So it's Bayne versus Becca. I got up at the beginning of the match because I knew nothing, like it wasn't going to be crazy. And I got a drink and I got a snack. And by the time I had my drink and my snack, the match was over. So, again, less than 2 minutes. Sorry, Becca. Better luck next time. I don't know. We caught up with Ciampa backstage for a quick interview following that, and he was like, hey, I've been in AEW for 24 days. That's really cool. 10 days ago, I lost my title. It's all I can think about. Fletcher won it, took it home to a hero's welcome, put it in the air for a ladder match, retained the title against Briscoe, who is recovering at home. Hope you're doing well. But I want Sylvie back. So, and then he disappeared into the background. Like, this wasn't like up against the wall. Like, they were in a hallway, and he just went, whoop, boop, just straight back down the hallway. All right, more. So then we rolled right into more Don Callis versus Death Rider back and forth shenaniganery in a trios match. And it was Mox, Yuta, and Pac versus Davis, Clone, and Takeshita. And it was very fun. I have no negative notes on it. So Yuta is obviously bald now after losing the hair match, and he wore a beanie the whole match. Somehow he managed to keep it on the entirety of the match. Takeshita tried to take it off of him at one point, and he got all flustered and yelled at the ref like, "Hey, he's messing with my gear!" But somehow it just stayed on his head. I don't know how they managed to do that. I'm just assuming double-sided tape or like duct tape or something. Like they just took a strip of duct tape and wrapped it up and stuck it on his head and then put the beanie on, and they called it a day. The most notable thing from that match that was a little outside the realm of like what you would expect from it is Pac was going to do something, and he went up in the air, and he went up in the air directly at Davis, and Davis just went poof and slapped him out of the air. So, that was fun. It was good. It was good stuff. Davis looks like he's doing fine. He had his whole like hands and everything taped up, so he might still have a little bit of a cut from last week when I found out he punched the ring post. I looked away for a second, and he punched the ring post, and then after that he got knocked like halfway into the crowd and then came back and his hand was bleeding. So I totally missed when he hit the ring post. But he's still healing apparently. He like I said, he taped all the way up, and it doesn't seem like he broke his knuckle, which is good. He just broke himself open. So that was good. Ended up with the Don Callis win. Is good stuff. And then Takeshita and Mox were both in the ring. And then I think El Clone came in to attack Mox. And I think Yuta jumped in to attack Takeshita. And the two of them dispatched the lower level boys. And then Mox hit Takeshita with a Death Rider. I'm sorry, not a Death Rider, a Paradigm Shift. And then he left. So that match coming up at Revolution is going to be awesome. I'm so excited. I'm so ready for it. No time limit, which is going to be great. There has to be a winner. So there's nothing more I can say besides this match is going to last 45 minutes, and they're going to beat the tar out of each other. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's nothing in between. They're going to demolish each other. And I'm going to predict that Takeshita actually takes the win. I think Takeshita is finally going to grab some gold, and then he's going to lord it over everybody else that he but then Okada and Fletcher are just going to be like, yeah, well, like, welcome to the club. It's about time you pulled your weight around here or whatever. I truly think that he's going to end up with the win at around, I'm even going to put a time on it. I'm going to say around 25 minutes. I think it's going to be give me 2 minutes on either end. So somewhere between 23 and 27 minutes. And Takeshita's going to come out with the win. Mark that down. Somebody. mark it down. But I'm looking forward to it. I truly think that this is going to be a great match, and it's really going to put people to pay more attention, which is crazy because both Mox and Takeshita are already huge superstars. So that's fine though. We got this running. We got it going. We're going to have fun with it. Moving on. We went back to the back and got a Babes of Wrath promo. That was next, and that was that. It was, the whole thing was done and over with really quick, talking about people who are coming after their belts, and then we just moved on. So then we came to a match that I was hoping would go a different direction, although I knew it wasn't going to. It was the return of Thunder Rosa, which, congratulations, glad you're back. You've been gone for a while. And she was taking on Julia Hart. I was really kind of hoping that Julia was going to take the win on it, just as like a haha, welcome back, things have changed type of deal. Of course, that's not the case. Thunder Rosa did get the win. She did it in front of, like, her family was there ringside, which, that's nice. I'm glad that they could all be there for her return match and everything. Julia Hart, there was a moment where she had Thunder Rosa in a submission, and she looked over at Thunder Rosa's family, and like there were a couple of like younger children, and she started making faces at the kids, which I laughed so hard. Because that's not something that you see very often, and it really does push like the goofy wrestling for life thoughts in my head. So I was very happy that was a thing. But it was just such a goofy little moment. I hope you can go and find it somewhere online and watch just the 10 seconds of Julia Hart holding Thunder Rosa in a submission and then just looking over and going bleh. Like, it was just so goofy. Oh god, I love it. The Sisters of Sin needs the tag titles now. Anyway, after Thunder Rosa won, Tekla came down through the audience, and she was like, "Oh, welcome back. You've been gone for 8 months. Like, what's up?" And Thunder Rosa was, like, piping back at her, just without a mic. And then Julia Hart, like, got herself together and went to attack Thunder Rosa from behind, and Statlander came flying into the ring and stood between Hart and Rosa. And that was fine. You know, it's kind of like the old guard. I can't even say that because Julia Hart's been there for just as long. I don't know. It's one click versus another click, and we're gonna see how that goes now that Stat and Thunder Rosa and Willow and Harley Cameron, like, now that they've got their thing, and then there's the Triangle of Madness, but there's also Mega Bad with the addition of Cross. Possible addition? Nobody even knows. We haven't seen her. No idea. So, that was a thing. It was a good little thing. And that went immediately into a promo for Private Party. There were a handful of other guys in the back playing Flip Cup and little drinking games, and then Private Party came in, and I couldn't understand a word that was said because somebody didn't program the mics correctly. I don't know what happened, but the audio, there was way more of the hooting and hollering in the background than there was of Private Party being like, here's what's going on, we're back and we're doing whatever. There was a moment where somebody, I didn't quite catch who, because this whole like little moment made me laugh really hard, so the entire thing just filled my brain with the little moment. Somebody from the Outrunners, one of the guys, I'm assuming answered Quinn's question about like whatever's happening. Like I said, I didn't get to hear the question, but it said something, and then one of the Outrunners was like, "'Cause there's no girls here," or something like that. And then Anthony Bowens, who was like chilling in a chair like at the end of this table where they're playing this like drinking game, stands up and he's like, "Hell yeah!" And then he just looks embarrassed and sits his ass back down. And it was so good. And then Quinn turned around and said something else into the camera, and that was the whole bit. And I have no idea what the hell... I don't know what all that was about. It was just a bunch of random dudes in the back playing flip cup and drinking in private party trying to, like, get a point across. But I couldn't hear the damn point. And I have a huge TV with volume that goes up to 1 million. And nothing. So, sorry, private party. I hope that we could figure out whatever your whole shtick was there. But fuck yeah, Anthony Bowens. Let's go. Then we came to the end of the night. 2 things happened at the end of the night. Number 1 was the main event, which we'll get to in a second. But just before that, Connors and Kidd came out through the audience, kind of. Like, they came and then, like, through the timekeeper's area and stood right next to Tony Schiavone at the commentator's desk. And Kidd had a mic. I think Connors also had a mic. I don't think they just traded the mic back and forth. I think Connors had a mic and Kidd had a mic. And Kidd was like, oh yeah, like, I'm crazy, and I'm serious when I say that I'm going to put Darby Allin in the ground, so he's pushing up daisies. And now this orange lad can get it too. So he was like, they basically just called out Darby Allin and Orange Cassidy, which that would be a tag team match that I'd be interested in watching, because, I mean, who wouldn't? You got Connors and Kidd, who are absolute psychopaths, and then you got Darby Allin, who is also an absolute psychopath. But then you throw Orange Cassidy in as his partner, and it's like the man who will throw his entire body into a move, tag teaming with the man who's, like, best known for his very laid-back style. Like, we've seen it before, but not with people as ridiculous as Connors and Kidd. So hopefully that becomes a thing. I would love to see that. Hopefully it happens at Revolution. That would have been this would be the perfect jump point 3 weeks away for Revolution to have that, hopefully not on 0 hour, but maybe like the opening match, maybe match number 2, just put it right at the beginning of the card to get the energy flowing and the crowd hyped. And then we can just move from there. So we'll go with that. But then we did come to the end of the night, which was FTR versus the Rascals. And like I said, it was Wentz and it was Xavier again. Who are now 3-0. I'm not even going to sugarcoat this. They are now 3-0 as a tag team, only being in the company for a month. Reed was on the outside with his big old snow goggles. I still don't understand that reference, but I didn't watch a lot of TNA while they were there, so I don't know how all that's working. However, this is why I say we need more Reed, because he did a great job at being at the outside. He took a gnarly bump at one point into the steel steps, and then almost got like powerbombed or something. And Cash Wheeler stole his goggles and put the goggles on, and it was a very good, like, very hard hitting from FTR's standpoint, very fast paced and quick tag and quick smacks and all that from the Rascals. So it was speed versus power, and they meshed so well. And this was a tag team title eliminator match, which, again, just put shit on the line. Like, bring our titles in and say, go. Stop. Like, once in a while an eliminator match is great, but I think we've had one every episode for the past, like, 3 weeks or so. Something's like, we're too much. We're too much. So, we did that. And that's been fine, and it was a great match. The Rascals, here's how the Rascals won. As Cash was on the outside messing with Reed, the Young Bucks came out and they like went around, because we all know FTR and the Bucks have a huge issue with each other. So the Bucks were like gonna go around and stop Cash from fucking with Reed, and Xavier and Wentz were still in the ring with Dax, and Dax was kind of on the ropes after a little bit of a heavy attack, and they did the backflip pushy trick, which is like super fire or something, I think is what they called it. I'll find it and I'll post the name of it here somewhere. And they did that while Cash was going after to like chase the Bucks off. And that was the whole thing there, right? And it was fine. It was good. I've nothing against it. And then after the Rascals got the win, all fucking hell broke loose because the Bucks and the Rascals were standing at the base of the entry ramp, and Dax and Cash were in the ring, and then the Demand came running down, and the Demand started to fight the Bucks, and Dax and Cash grabbed the Rascals and started beating them up. Stoke, which, by the way, here's an update on helpbigstoke.com's money. Ping! Too much money. I hope it's not real money. Bloop. So Dax and Cash were taking care of the Rascals. Toa Leona and Bishop Khan were taking care of the Bucks. And then as all that was happening, Jack Perry came running out and was coming. He hit the ramp. He hit the angle of the ramp, and from out of fucking nowhere, Ricochet came flying out, hit him with the spirit gun, and then they all just started beating the shit out of people. And then Dax and Cash went out to where the Young Bucks family were sitting, which was right next to where Thunder Rosa's family had been sitting. It's all with their backs to the Hard King, right? So that's just where the families sit, right? And they started messing with the kids a little bit, and they started messing with the two adults that were there, and they grabbed one of the younger brothers of the Young Bucks, and they yanked him over the guardrail, and they tossed him in the ring, and Dax and Cash did the Young Bucks finisher where like the spiked pile driver thing, while Toa Leona and Bishop Khan were holding the Young Bucks halfway across the ring so that they just had to watch their younger brother get demolished. And that dude put up a fight. He legitimately was like swinging at Dax, but they took out the younger brother. So they have made this very personal. I don't know when we're going to get well, no, that's not true. They have a match at Revolution. We are 3 weeks away from their match. This was a lot of pent-up aggression to let out 3 weeks before the pay-per-view. I'm not mad at it. I just think it was a little too soon. You guys could have waited until next Saturday or even the Wednesday the 4th. You could have done this Wednesday the 4th. And that would have been 10 days before the pay-per-view. And it would have been fantastic. And we wouldn't have had any. And you do that. You give everybody Saturday off, or one team off Saturday, the next team off Wednesday. They meet at the pay-per-view, and all hell breaks loose. And it would have been fantastic. This was just a little bit early for my liking. Just for me, who am I? So that's how everything ended. I think it was a great show. I think that we're really pushing some narratives, and we're getting the stories really told in fun ways. I don't think we needed the Megan Bain match. That I just don't see a point to what we did there. It was a standby match, and it didn't need to happen. We could have we could have cut 2 minutes off the overtime for the main event, or given them an extra 2 minutes and done a little bit more. But it's fine. Everything worked out just fine. Don't do that. Don't ever do that. That was wrong. Everything worked out just fine. So we will see what happens Wednesday. We've got a lot of fun coming up. If you're new to the channel, like, subscribe, hang out. We're going to have a lot of fun here. I got a few things cooking. I'm working on this room. All kinds of fun stuff is coming. So have yourselves a great weekend. Have a great Sunday. Don't let Monday piss you off. Kick next week in the balls. Do 2 things this upcoming week to make yourself laugh. And I will see you next week on Wednesday. I am Swithbert. I am building a suplex society. And I hope you stay.